Hello, and welcome to Anime Audio Commentary. Today I'll be commenting on episode 5 of My Dress Up Darling. If you'd like to watch along, then start watching now. So it seems like we're sort of backing up a bit and redoing that big reveal where the costume is essentially perfect. There's a nice big moment of truth here where, despite all of the hardship and the miscommunication, everything turned out better than expected. So it turns out that even with minor alterations being necessary for mobility, that's still a fairly minor thing. Man, the animators knew what they were doing right there, those cheeky rats. Wow. Man, bet they had a lot of fun animating this scene. Yeah, so I think it's very interesting that this was sort of like set up as a big conflict here, but it's already essentially been resolved. So one has to wonder, what's the next step? I think the obvious answer is that Gojo's going to be taking pictures, but he's merely using a cell phone camera, which, they're good these days, really good in fact, but I'd imagine professional cameras are still that much better. There's also the added wrinkle of, I guess, Mare not quite being in character and thus making the pictures feel a bit, I don't know, fake, amateurish, something like that, If this character is supposed to be kind of pouty and mopey, it doesn't do to be all happy and smiley. Of course, funnily enough, she can't really hold the pose for long enough because this is such a grand occasion. At least she understands that this is sort of an obstacle to getting the photos taken, That's something I think a lot of people don't consider, that if you're doing, studio time, be it recording music or taking pictures, they charge a lot, and by the hour too, so if you're wasting time in the studio, that will add up very quickly. It doesn't really apply in this situation, because they're just doing this amateurishly, but if you were to do it in a studio, that would be, I guess, frowned upon, that sort of amateurish behavior. So it begins. She's already starting to post pictures of the cosplay online. I'm sure in no time she'll attract a decent following. So I find it interesting that having just gone through this whole 2 weeks of hell, Gojo's willing to go along with going to the cosplay event. And I mean, Marin has a reasonable justification. We're ready now, so why not? And, we rushed for this. It would be a waste not to go, but at the same time, I don't think the dude slept in like 2 days. So naturally, Marin recognizes a bunch of the other attendees as big important people in the community. So, she's on cloud 9 right now. Gojo, I'd imagine, feels a bit more like a fish out of water. Yeah, he's probably not good at being around all these people. Yeah, I wonder if he's got, some sort of, social anxiety disorder or something like that. Because, he doesn't really act like this around other groups of people. But I guess it's probably because he's the only dude not wearing cosplay at the event. Man, Marin really just has to labor the point here. Jiggle, jiggle, jiggle. So, ultimately, Gojo doesn't actually appear to be the only one not in cosplay, but he does seem to be standing out a bit, I've noticed that his clothes are, I don't know, a bit different. The only thing I can compare it to is that he looks like he's wearing scrubs, like he works in a hospital, but he very clearly isn't. Man, if the day couldn't get any better, a fan has recognized Marin for the character she's dressed up as. I'd imagine that would be the best thing that could happen, to be recognized and admired. Oh boy, here we go again. Oh, I take that back. She seems to have managed it a whole lot easier. I don't know, something about this is not quite right. I feel like there's gonna be some dude at this cosplay event who starts getting unduly creepy. I'm not prepared to watch something like that on a full stomach. I mean, fortunately, everybody seems to just be taking pictures from a good distance away and not getting all creepy, and oddly enough, she was the one who instigated that selfie, but at the same time, I feel like there's gonna be some, big fat guy who comes up and says something creepy. And once again, here we have little hints of potentially a blooming romance here. Gojo seems to be reflecting on how, now that I guess their arrangement has been completed, there's no real reason to hang out anymore. And that's a sad thing. But I think that's just him kind of, jumping to conclusions. If he managed to help her out with one outfit, I don't think there's any reason to believe that she would just stop hanging out with him altogether. Alright, things are going well here, but I'm still waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, what's gonna happen? Like, this is how rom-coms do it. Like, things go alright for a while, but then something happens. What's the catch here? Man, they sort of like showed a shot of her feet. I thought she was gonna like roll her ankle and trip or something. I don't know, maybe I'm being paranoid here. This might just be like a nice fluffy, like, feel-good thing. Alright, so it seems like there's some kind of catch here, I think once again Marin did something to interfere here. Okay. Alright, so she basically like stuffed her bra and the whole thing's been constricting her ever since. Ah, dear. That's another interesting consideration. All of these layers of heavy fabric weren't made with keeping cool in the sun in mind. So I'd imagine heat stroke is a potential danger here. Doesn't help that you're also wearing a wig, which sort of traps heat close to the head. Man, Gojo's taking this whole thing like it's his fault, but I feel like he couldn't really have known. Man, the animators really can't help themselves, can they? They just have to show everything jiggling. Wow. Poor Gojo. I imagine it's not very easy to keep your composure in this situation. Oh boy. Of course, Gojo's gotta help out too. Oh, Gojo, dude. Man, I'd imagine there are a fair few people, like a subset of people who would kill for this kind of an opportunity, and Gojo's reticent about the entire thing. I wonder if she's almost teasing him deliberately just to watch him freak out. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. Ooh, boy. Man, they know exactly what they're doing. They're just playing around. These animators. Well, I guess it's the scriptwriter and the voice actors, too. Deliberately playing it up. Alright, so that might be part of the problem as well. She's wearing shorts under that big heavy skirt, so I imagine that would trap a lot of heat as well. I mean, it's important for the sake of modesty, but at the same time, I don't think modesty is worth heat stroke. Man, even despite that old misadventure about heatstroke, she still wants to go back. Okay, so now we know why. She promised somebody a picture and didn't get to deliver. I think that's a mark of integrity that she would go back for a fan. Well, there we go, the obligatory gust of wind. I wonder what was written there. She seemed to have written something. I like how Marin completely misunderstands the situation that she had blinked during the picture, and it's okay if you take a new one. Man, misunderstandings abound. They truly are the foundation of the romantic comedy. So I find it interesting that Gojo is taking the time to thank her for everything, because, he was really doing the lion's share of the work here, but in the end, he really did benefit from it, He has a friend now, he got to do fun stuff. Sure, he worked himself half to death, but, I would think a good friend is worth at least a bit of work. So here we go, just like that, all of Gojo's fears are unfounded. Marin's already thinking about the next cosplay. So it seems like this really ties up everything in a nice bow. This is going to be an ongoing thing, this friendship isn't going anywhere anytime soon. There we go, Gojo. He's showing his earnest side again, where even if he's not particularly great at making clothes, he's going to improve, and he looks forward to the challenge. Wow, poor guy. He's probably starting to pass out, because I don't think he has really slept at all since finishing the outfit. And basically, it looks like they spent a whole day doing cosplay stuff, too, so I've been in situations like that, that's when you just sort of, sleep for most of a day and do absolutely nothing for the rest of it. And even then, you don't feel quite back to normal yet. Oh boy, she's talking about how all these people are so beautiful even without filters. And he even went and said it. It's especially notable since he said, the word beauty to him is very important. Ooh boy. Now we have some romantic development going on. Oh, interesting. She's the one that's getting all flustered about things. Interesting. Alright, well that's it for this episode. If you've enjoyed it, then by all means, tune in for the next one. See you, Space Cowboy.